The quantum sensors aboard the Kraxan flagship Eternal Dominion detected Earth long before Supreme Commander Vaxter received the first reports. The massive vessel, stretching 12 kilometers from bow to stern, had been methodically mapping this sector of space for the past 3 cycles, cataloging potential worlds for absorption into the Empire. Earth appeared unremarkable at first, just another life-bearing world on the edges of known space. Another primitive species, Supreme Commander, reported First Observer Kellenen, her crystalline appendages shifting in the soft blue light of the bridge. Their technological development appears to be in its infancy. They've barely managed to establish a presence on their moon and neighboring planet. Vaxter's 6 eyes narrowed as he studied the holographic display. The Kraxan Empire had conquered thousands of worlds over the past millennium, their biomechanical technology far surpassing anything they'd encountered. Each new species they discovered followed the same pattern: initial resistance, swift defeat, then acceptance of their place within the Empire's hierarchy. Show me their defensive capabilities, Vaxter commanded, his exoskeleton clicking softly as he moved closer to the display. The hologram shifted, showing scattered satellites, a handful of space stations, and what appeared to be primitive kinetic weapons systems. Kellenan's analysis continued. They rely primarily on chemical propulsion and nuclear fission. Their most advanced weapons appear to be railguns and directed energy weapons, though these are in early developmental stages. What the Kraxan's sensors couldn't detect, however, was the vast network of quantum observatories humanity had built beneath the surface of Mercury, hidden from conventional scanning methods. For the past 30 years, Earth's greatest minds had been studying the Empire's expansion through the galaxy, preparing for the inevitable encounter. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the heart of Project Prometheus, 3 kilometers beneath Mercury's surface, watching as the Kraxan sensors swept across the solar system. The quantum interference patterns they detected suggested a massive vessel, exactly as their models had predicted. "They're right on schedule," she spoke into her neural interface, connecting with the United Earth Defense Council. "Operation Looking Glass is ready to proceed." The Council had spent decades preparing for this moment. After discovering the ruins of an ancient civilization on Mars in 2047, humanity had gained access to fragments of advanced technology. Instead of rushing to implement these discoveries, Earth's leaders had made an unprecedented decision. They would keep their true capabilities hidden, appearing vulnerable while secretly building their strength. The Prometheus project had reverse-engineered and improved upon the ancient technologies, creating hybrid systems that combined human ingenuity with alien advancement. Deep beneath the surfaces of Mercury, Mars, and several of Jupiter's moons, vast manufacturing facilities had been constructing weapons and ships that no one in the galaxy had ever seen before. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, Vaxter issued his standard conquest protocols. The Empire would begin with a show of force, destroying a few military installations to demonstrate their superiority, followed by demands for unconditional surrender. It was a strategy that had worked countless times before. "Launch the first wave of Harbinger drones," he commanded. "Target their lunar installations. Let them witness true power." As the drones streaked toward Earth's moon, Dr. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The quantum sensors had picked up the launch, exactly as expected. She accessed her neural interface once more, connecting with General Diana Martinez at Lunar Command. "They're following the predicted pattern, General. Lunar Defense Grid is ready for activation on your mark." The Harbinger drones approached Luna Base, their weapon systems charging. To their sensors, the base appeared to be a simple research station with minimal defenses. They detected no energy shields, no advanced weapon systems, nothing that could pose a threat to their superior technology. They never saw the quantum-shifted defense grid until it was too late. The space around Luna Base suddenly warped as dozens of hidden defense platforms phased into normal space. These weren't the primitive weapons the Kraxan had detected. They were hybrid systems combining human innovation with recovered alien technology, specifically designed to counter the Empire's greatest strengths. As the first wave of drones disappeared in a series of precisely calculated quantum detonations, Vaxter received a transmission from Earth. The message was simple, transmitted in perfect Kraxan. "Perhaps we should talk about your surrender first." Supreme Commander Vaxter's mandibles clicked in barely contained rage as he watched the sensor readouts. The first wave of Harbinger drones, some of the most advanced autonomous weapons in the Empire's arsenal, had been completely destroyed. Not damaged, not disabled, but utterly erased from existence by weapons that shouldn't have been possible for such a primitive species to possess. "Impossible," he hissed, his exoskeleton bristling with agitation. "Full scan of the lunar surface. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." But the Kraxan's quantum sensors, previously thought to be unmatched in the galaxy, were having difficulty penetrating whatever field the humans had generated around their moon. It was as if they were trying to scan through dimensional smoke. In the command center beneath Luna's surface, General Diana Martinez watched the Kraxan's futile attempts to pierce their quantum diffusion field. The technology, developed by combining human theoretical physics with recovered alien tech, created a barrier that existed partially out of phase with normal spacetime. "Dr. Chen," Martinez spoke through her neural interface, "they're responding exactly as you predicted. Initiating Phase 2. 3 planets away, in the Mercury facility." Sarah Chen monitored the quantum fluctuations surrounding the Kraxan fleet. "Confirmed, General. Their adaptive algorithms are trying to compensate for our diffusion field. They'll think they found a way through in approximately 3 minutes. And that's when we show them our first real surprise." Martinez smiled, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface as she issued commands to Luna's defense grid. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, First Observer Kelman's crystalline appendages vibrated with excitement. "Supreme Commander, we've identified a weakness in their defensive field. The quantum variance suggests we can penetrate it using a concentrated tachyon burst." Vaxter's 6 eyes narrowed with satisfaction. Of course, the humans' stolen technology would have weaknesses. They couldn't possibly understand its true potential. "Launch the second wave. Full combat deployment. Target their defensive installations with tachyon cannons first." The Kraxan battle fleet moved forward, their massive ships arranging themselves in the Empire's classic spear formation. Hundreds of vessels, each one capable of reducing a planet's surface to slag, activated their weapon systems. The void lit up with the energy discharge of 1,000 tachyon cannons, all focused on Luna's defensive field. For a moment, it seemed to work. The quantum diffusion field flickered, sections of it appearing to fail under the sustained assault. Vaxter allowed himself a moment of satisfaction, which turned to confusion as his tactical display suddenly filled with new contacts. Hidden in lunar craters and beneath the moon's surface, humanity's true defensive platforms emerge. These weren't the primitive weapons the Kraxan had detected earlier. These were the products of 30 years of human innovation, combined with recovered alien technology. Multiple new signatures detected. Kelnan's normally controlled voice carried an edge of panic. "They're using some kind of hybrid technology. Our shields aren't configured for." Her voice cut off as the first salvo from Luna's defense grid struck the Kraxan fleet. The weapons weren't just advanced. They were specifically designed to exploit weaknesses in Kraxan technology that humanity had spent decades studying. Quantum-shifted projectiles phased through their shields as if they weren't there. Graviton beams disrupted their ship's artificial gravity, sending crews tumbling. Most devastating of all were the temporal distortion weapons that caused localized time dilation effects, causing sections of their ships to experience time at different rates. "Pull back!" Vaxter roared, watching as 3 of his heaviest cruisers were torn apart by weapons he couldn't even fully comprehend. "Full retreat. Regroup at Rally Point Alpha." But the humans weren't finished. As the Kraxan fleet began their retreat, Luna's surface seemed to ripple. Hidden launch bays opened, revealing squadrons of fighters unlike anything the Empire had ever encountered. These vessels, piloted by both AI and humans, were the first examples of true human-alien hybrid technology. You wanted to see our real defensive capabilities, Supreme Commander. General Martinez's voice came through on all Kraxan frequencies. Allow us to demonstrate. The human fighters moved with impossible agility, their hybrid drives allowing them to ignore most laws of physics that restricted conventional space combat. They struck from multiple angles simultaneously, their weapons synchronized with Luna's defense platforms in a deadly dance that had been practiced countless times in simulation. In the Mercury Command Center, Dr. Chen watched the quantum sensor feeds with grim satisfaction. The Kraxan fleet was in disarray, their supposedly superior technology proving ineffective against weapons specifically designed to counter them. But she knew this was just the beginning. General Martinez, she called through the neural interface, they're about to make a tactical jump to their rally point. Shall we show them why that's a bad idea? Activate the quantum entanglement net, Martinez commanded. As the Kraxan fleet engaged their faster-than-light drives, they discovered too late that humans had seeded the entire region with quantum-entangled particles. Their jump calculations, perfect under normal circumstances, were thrown into chaos. Ships emerged from FTL at random points, some dangerously close to each other, others hopelessly out of position. Vaxter stared at the tactical display in disbelief as his once mighty fleets scattered across space like leaves in a storm. For the first time in his long career, he felt something he had never expected to experience while facing a supposedly primitive species: fear. The battle for Luna had just become a turning point in galactic history, and humanity was only beginning to reveal its true capabilities. The aftermath of the Luna battle sent shockwaves through the Kraxan Empire. For the first time in centuries, an Imperial fleet had not just been resisted. It had been thoroughly defeated. In the Empire's central command hub on Kraxos Prime, the High Council gathered in emergency session. Impossible. High Counselor Xextor's crystalline form pulsed with angry red light. No primitive species could have developed such weapons independently. They must have had help. They must have stolen. They didn't steal anything, interrupted a quiet voice. All eyes turned to Archive Master Rentil, the Empire's foremost expert on extinct civilizations. They improved upon what they found. The quantum signatures we detected, they're unlike anything in our records. The humans didn't just copy the technology they discovered. They understood it, enhanced it, and made it their own. Meanwhile, in the depths of Mercury's Prometheus facility, Dr. Sarah Chen was presenting humanity's next move to the United Earth Defense Council. The holographic displays showed the current positions of the scattered Kraxan fleet, their ships still struggling to regroup after the quantum entanglement net had disrupted their retreat. We've bloodied their nose, Chen explained, her neural interface projecting tactical simulations above the conference table. But the Empire won't retreat. Their entire civilization is built on the myth of their invincibility. They'll return with everything they have. General Martinez's hologram nodded from her lunar command center. Then we proceed with Operation Checkmate. We have to, Chen replied. The quantum sensors show they're already mobilizing their reserve fleets. We'll never have a better opportunity than now. What the Kraxan Empire didn't know, what their sensors couldn't detect, was that humanity's preparation went far beyond defensive capabilities. Hidden in the asteroid belt, powered down, and quantum shifted out of normal spacetime, waited humanity's true masterpiece, the Ghost Fleet. Supreme Commander Vaxter, now coordinating from a secondary command ship after the damage sustained by the Eternal Dominion, was preparing for a full-scale assault on the Earth system. His remaining ships had finally regrouped, and reinforcements were arriving through FTL corridors. We'll overwhelm their defenses with sheer numbers, he declared to his command staff. No matter how advanced their weapons, they cannot possibly defend against thousands of ships attacking simultaneously. That's when the proximity alarms began blaring. The Ghost Fleet revealed itself in a carefully choreographed sequence. The ships seemed to materialize from nowhere, their quantum-shifted hulls phasing into normal space in perfect formation. But these weren't conventional warships. They represented an entirely new approach to space combat. Each vessel in the Ghost Fleet was a hybrid of human and alien technology, but designed in ways the Kraxan had never imagined possible. The ships had no crews. They were controlled by a combination of advanced AI and human operators, linked through neural interfaces from secure facilities throughout the solar system. This meant they could perform maneuvers that would kill any organic crew, and their lack of life support systems allowed for designs that maximized combat effectiveness. Multiple contacts. Kelnan's voice was tight with stress. They're everywhere. Quantum signatures unlike anything we've seen before. The Ghost Fleet's first strike demonstrated just how thoroughly humanity had studied their enemy. Instead of conventional weapons, the ships projected quantum interference fields that disrupted the very principles the Kraxan's technology relied upon. Their biomechanical systems, usually so adaptive and resilient, found themselves unable to compensate for attacks that seemed to defy the laws of physics themselves. Dr. Chen watched through her neural link as the battle unfolded. The Ghost Fleet moved with perfect coordination, each ship's actions synchronized through quantum entanglement communications that the Kraxan couldn't detect, let alone intercept. The human operators, working from their secure bunkers, directed the fleet with a precision that no conventional command structure could match. Their biomechanical systems are attempting to adapt, Chen reported to the Defense Council, initiating Phase 2 of the attack. The Ghost Fleet suddenly shifted tactics. Instead of attacking directly, the ships began creating localized quantum anomalies throughout the battlefield. These distortions affected the fundamental forces that the Kraxan's technology relied upon. Their weapons couldn't lock onto targets that existed partially out of phase with normal space. Their shields couldn't block attacks that approached from multiple quantum states simultaneously. Vaxter watched in horror as his fleet's formation began to crumble. This is impossible. How can they be everywhere at once? But that was exactly what humanity had achieved. The ability to fight across multiple quantum states simultaneously. The Ghost Fleet didn't just outmaneuver the Kraxan ships. It operated on levels of reality that the Empire's technology couldn't even perceive properly. As the battle raged, news of humanity's capabilities began spreading through the Empire's communication channels. Other species under Kraxan rule watched with growing interest as humans demonstrated mastery over technologies that the Empire had claimed only they could properly understand. Dr. Chen's quantum sensors detected something unexpected. Encrypted transmissions flowing between various ships in the Kraxan fleet. Some of the Empire's subjugated species were beginning to question their loyalty. General Martinez, she called through her neural interface, I think we're about to see something interesting. Several Kraxan ships are powering down their weapons. The first defection happened suddenly. A cruiser crewed by the silicon-based Litharians turned its weapons on its former Imperial allies. Then another ship joined them, and another. The myth of Kraxan invincibility was crumbling, and with it, the bonds that held their empire together. The defection of the Litharian ships marked the beginning of a cascade effect that would reshape the galaxy. In the chaos of battle, more vessels crewed by subjugated species began breaking formation, their crews finally seeing an opportunity to break free from Kraxan dominion. Supreme Commander Vaxter watched helplessly as his fleet dissolved into chaos. All loyal ships maintain formation. This is treason. I order you to. His transmission was cut short as a Ghost Fleet vessel phased through his command shields, temporarily existing in the same space-time coordinates as the vessel's power core. The resulting quantum interference caused cascading system failures throughout the ship. In the Mercury Command Center, Dr. Chen monitored the quantum fluctuations with growing concern. The physics are becoming unstable, she reported to the Defense Council. The concentration of quantum-shifted vessels is creating unexpected resonance patterns. General Martinez's hologram flickered as she processed the data. Are we at risk of a catastrophic collapse? No, Chen replied, her fingers dancing across neural interface controls. But we need to adjust our tactics. The Ghost Fleet needs to maintain quantum coherence, or we could lose control of the battlefield geometry. The Ghost Fleet responded instantly to the new parameters, its AI systems and human operators working in perfect synchronization to maintain the delicate balance of forces. The ships shifted their attack patterns, creating a complex dance of phase-shifted assaults that herded the remaining loyal Kraxan vessels into precisely calculated positions. But the true power of the Ghost Fleet wasn't just in its advanced technology. It was in how it forced the Kraxan Empire to face its own contradictions. Every subjugated species in the Imperial fleet watched as human ingenuity and determination dismantled the myth of Kraxan superiority. Through quantum-encrypted channels, messages began flowing between the rebel ships and human command. The Litharians weren't alone in their desire for freedom. The crystalline Axoni, the energy-based Verax, and even some biomechanical hybrid species that had long served the Empire began reaching out. "We're receiving technological data from the defectors," Chen announced, her neural interface struggling to process the flood of information. "They're sharing details about Imperial systems we hadn't discovered yet." This unexpected cooperation created new opportunities. The Ghost Fleet's AI systems began incorporating the new data in real time, adapting their attack patterns to exploit previously unknown weaknesses in Kraxan technology. The human operators, through their neural interfaces, learned to anticipate and counter Imperial tactics before they could be fully implemented. Aboard the few remaining loyal Kraxan ships, panic began to set in. Their supposedly superior technology was being turned against them by the very species they had conquered and enslaved. The humans hadn't just developed countermeasures to Imperial weapons. They had created a way of fighting that made traditional Kraxan military doctrine obsolete. Multiple quantum signatures detecting across all sectors. Kelnan's voice cracked with stress as she reported from her damaged station. "The humans, they're not just fighting us. They're rewriting the rules of space combat." She was right. The Ghost Fleet's operations had evolved beyond simple combat maneuvers. Each ship now served as a node in a vast quantum network, creating a battlefield where physical location became almost irrelevant. Human operators, safely ensconced in their bunkers throughout the solar system, directed their vessels through probability space as much as physical space. Dr. Chen watched as the quantum sensor displays showed the battle's true nature, not just ships exchanging fire, but a complex manipulation of fundamental forces. The Ghost Fleet wasn't just winning through superior firepower, it was demonstrating a mastery of physics that made conventional resistance futile. "General Martinez," she called through the neural link, "I'm detecting unusual quantum signatures from the Empire's core worlds. I think our demonstration here is having wider effects than we anticipated." The general's hologram smiled grimly. "The other species in the Empire are watching, aren't they? Learning?" "More than that," Chen replied, studying the complex data patterns. "They're beginning to act. The quantum communications network is lighting up with activity across dozens of star systems. This isn't just a battle anymore. We've triggered a revolution." In the space around Earth's orbit, the remaining loyal Kraxan ships found themselves caught in an impossible tactical situation. The Ghost Fleet's quantum-shifted attacks came from all directions simultaneously, while the growing number of rebel ships prevented any organized retreat. Supreme Commander Vaxter, his command ship systems failing around him, finally understood the true magnitude of his error. The Empire hadn't just underestimated humanity's technological capabilities. They had failed to recognize that their greatest weapon would be inspiring others to resist. As the battle reached its climax, the Ghost Fleet executed its most ambitious maneuver yet. Multiple ships phased into quantum synchronization, creating a cascade of reality distortions that trapped the loyal Imperial vessels in a pocket of warped spacetime. In that moment, the mighty Kraxan Empire learned that their technological superiority had been an illusion, and humanity had just shown the galaxy a new path forward. News of the battle in the Sol system spread through the Empire's quantum networks at unprecedented speed. Despite attempts by Imperial censors to contain the information, Every species under Kraxan rule witnessed humanity's achievement. The implications were staggering. Not only had a primitive species defeated the Empire's best fleet, but they had done so by fundamentally reimagining how technology could be used. On Kraxos Prime, the High Council descended into chaos. Archive Master Rentil stood before them, his normally calm demeanor shaken by the quantum sensor readings from Earth. The humans didn't just improve upon the ancient technologies they found, he announced to the stunned council. They understood principles that we, in our arrogance, never even considered. Their quantum-shifted vessels, their hybrid weapons, they represent an entirely new paradigm of scientific advancement. High Counselor Zextor's crystalline form pulsed with rage. Then we will send everything. Every ship, every weapon. It's too late. Rentil interrupted, projecting the latest quantum communications data. The revolution has already begun. 17 core systems have declared independence in the last hour alone. The Litharians are sharing human quantum shift technology with the Axoni. The Verax have already adapted their energy matrices to incorporate Earth's hybrid principles. In the Mercury Command Center, Dr. Sarah Chen watched as the quantum sensors painted a picture of an empire tearing itself apart. The Ghost Fleet's victory hadn't just been military. It had shattered the psychological foundations of Kraxan rule. General Martinez, she called through her neural interface, "Are you seeing this? The quantum signatures from the Empire's core worlds." "I see it," Martins replied from Luna Command. "Their entire power structure is collapsing. Every subjugated species is rising up, using our tactics, our innovations. We didn't just beat them. We showed the galaxy that they could be beaten." The remaining loyal Kraxan ships, trapped in the Ghost Fleet's quantum containment field, received the news of their empire's collapse in real time. Supreme Commander Vaxter, his mighty flagship reduced to a powerless hulk, finally activated the emergency communication channel to Earth. In all our centuries of conquest, his voice crackled through the quantum static. "We never encountered a species like yours. You didn't just resist, you evolved. You took our greatest strengths and turned them into weaknesses. How? How did you achieve this?" Dr. Chen took the communication feed, her response broadcast to all ships in the system. "Because you gave us time. When we detected your empire's expansion 30 years ago, we could have revealed ourselves, tried to fight you with what we had. Instead, we watched, we learned, we understood that true advancement isn't about copying technology. It's about understanding principles and imagining new possibilities." The quantum sensors showed more and more systems breaking away from imperial control. The Kraxan Empire's rigid hierarchy, once its greatest strength, now became its fatal weakness. Each liberated species brought their own unique insights to the revolution, combining their knowledge with human innovations in ways the Empire had never imagined possible. The Ghost Fleet began powering down its quantum weapons, its mission accomplished. But humanity's influence on the galaxy was just beginning. Representatives from dozens of species were already requesting permission to send delegations to Earth, eager to learn from the civilization that had accomplished the impossible. General Martinez's hologram appeared in the Mercury Command Center, her expression thoughtful. "They'll be expecting us to take the Empire's place, you know, to become the new dominant force in the galaxy." "That's exactly what we won't do," Chen replied, already drafting proposals in her neural interface. "We'll show them something the Empire never could: how to work together as equals. Each species brings its own perspective, its own way of understanding the universe. Combined with our quantum technology and hybrid innovations, imagine what we could all achieve together." In the space above Earth, the former Imperial ships began powering down their weapons. The quantum containment field dissolved, replaced by a new kind of connection: open channels for communication and cooperation. The age of the Kraxan Empire was over, but something far more remarkable was about to begin. Humanity had not just defeated an empire. They had sparked a revolution in how civilizations could interact with each other and with the fundamental forces of the universe itself. As representatives from formerly subjugated species began arriving in the Sol system, each bringing their own knowledge and perspectives, it became clear that the real adventure was just beginning. Dr. Chen stood at her quantum interface, watching as new possibilities unfolded across the galaxy. The message that had defeated the Empire wasn't just about superior technology or military might. It was about the power of human ingenuity, determination, and the willingness to imagine a better way forward. The stars themselves seemed brighter now, freed from the shadow of imperial rule, ready for a new era of exploration and cooperation. Humanity had taught the galaxy its most important lesson. True power comes not from domination, but from the ability to adapt, innovate, and inspire others to reach their full potential.